Good morning. My name is Robert Stanley, and this is my week 6 assignment. Be going over trajectory and sights, gyroscopic drift, drag, Magnus effect, Coriolis effect, vertical angles, and transonic ballistic performance. So to start off, we're going to do trajectory and sights. Trajectory and sights is basically I'm going to use my finger as my sight. My sight is pointing where I want to shoot, and that should be the trajectory of my round if my sights are true. So when I fire my round wherever my sights are pointing, that is what I'm hitting. Trajectory and sights, that's as simple as it could be. Gyroscopic drift. Gyroscopic drift doesn't really play an effect until you get beyond 300 yards. Anything within 200 and closer, there's really no drift. The bullet will fly true. Once you get beyond 300 yards, gyroscopic drift starts taking effect because it plays a part with the elements. So wind has a major effect with gyroscopic drift. It's whichever way the wind's blowing. If it's blowing from left to right, right to left, that's which way your bullet or projectile will fly. And again, like I said, at 200 yards, there's no effect. Once you get beyond 200, closer to the 300 yard range, that's when you're going to start noticing the gyroscopic drift. Basically, you need to offset aim. You either offset aim or you adjust your sights. Personally, offset aiming is a lot easier because if you have your scope or your sights zeroed at a certain range, you don't want to mess that up. So it's just easier to offset aim. Next, we are going to be going over drag. So drag, if the wind is blowing into my face and I fire around, it's going to take a split second longer for the projectile to reach its target. It's also going to force the round down a little bit, and it's not known to the naked eye. You're not going to notice it without equipment. If the wind's blowing at my back, from my back, there's really no effect whatsoever. There's no drag. There's no drift. If it's a straight shot, there's no effect whatsoever. The Magnus effect. Magnus effect is just how the projectile is spinning. So in this instance, I'm going to use a baseball. For my baseball, the Magnus effect is how, again, the projectile, or in this case, the baseball, is spinning. So if my baseball is spinning like this, that is the Magnus effect. If my baseball is spinning like this, that's my Magnus effect. Same, any direction. That is the Magnus effect of that baseball, whichever way it is spinning. And same with the projectile. Baseball, you throw it a certain way, it moves a certain way. A bullet, it's just going to spin. So there's really no... The bullet's just going to spin one way unless you have a ball round, and a ball round will spin however it's going to spin. Vertical angles, it's the vertical angle. It's really just dependent. It's based upon the horizontal plane and the axial direction of the barrel. So if my barrel is facing this way, the horizontal plane is right here. So that's going to be your vertical angles. And that's going to let you know that at what angle you're shooting. There is a pretty sure there is a formula out there to determine that. I have not found it yet, or a good one to be able to explain, but there is or should be a formula out there. Next thing we're going to go over is transonic ballistics performance. And this one I found off of Accurate Shooter. Transonic ballistics is basically the shockwave that your projectile leaves after being fired from the weapon. So once the weapon has been fired, the shockwave it actually causes the bullet to become unstable at that point, until in that transonic speed, I should say. And because of that transonic speed and it causing the bullet to become unstable, it also upsets the bullet's flight path. So when it reaches that transonic speed, again, I'm going to use a baseball in this instance, but it hits its transonic speed and then it could veer up, down, left, right. It's just how fast that bullet is actually going, which will affect. So, but for gyroscopic drift, I've used, that's personal experience within the Marine Corps, learning that from marksmanship instructor. Also, it can be found on Gunworks, the Magnus Effect. Magnus Effect, you can find that all over the place. But I personally found it on Wikipedia is where I found the Magnus Effect. Vertical angles, I've found that on Wikipedia as well. I don't know how credible of a source it's going to be, but this is where I found it. So again, thank you, and this is my Week 7 assignment.